Hello Internet, Taliesin here, and today we are talking customization, and specifically the grand spanking new smorgasbord of options becoming available to players in brand new World of Warcraft expansion Shadowlands. Because Shadowlands may be the first expansion ever not to offer a new race or new class to play. What's that? No, it's definitely the first ever expansion to do that. I'm pretty sure I'm remembering that right. What did you say? No, sorry, I can't hear you. I'm going through a tunnel. But it more than makes up for that with the single biggest update in playable character customization options that the game has ever seen. From the small, like jewelry or beards, or the groundbreaking ability to choose eye color independent of face though, to the really quite monumental. There's something for everyone to get excited about in Shadowlands, but don't forget, while all playable races are equal, when it comes to customization options, some are more equal than others, and there is most definitely a sliding scale of winners, not so winners, and flat out losers. So join us as we look at every playable race in the next expansion, their new options, and rank the winners and losers for character customization in World of Warcraft Shadowlands. Okay, go, 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 go. The World of Warcraft universe, much like the real universe, is a place of balance. For every good, there must be evil. For every action, there must be an equal and opposite reaction. For every winner, there must also be a loser. And man, oh man, did allied races get totally dicked in the Shadowlands updates. In fairness, you can see why Blizz can't be bothered with them, really. Allied races are the most recent playable character options in the game, and as such, have already had the newest and shiniest features and choices before these updates. But yeah, basically, they don't get anything. Sorry, allied races. But also, f*** you. But here's the thing, even in being total and utter undeniable losers in the Shadowlands customization orgy relative to other races, some allied races still do have updates that make them objectively better. Kultirans, Magar, Vulpera, Zandalari Trolls, Gnomes, and High Mountain Tauren all get fully customizable eye options, making them totally independent of face choice, and also introducing new colors to choose from, which is awesome. Bald head options as standard, which are so ubiquitous in Shadowlands now that I won't be mentioning them again for the entire video. Zandalari Trolls even get some more specific options on their ear piercings, which is no bad thing. So among the undisputed losers of new customization, I guess these guys are the least losers, while Dark Irons, Lightforged, and Nightborn are the mostest losers because they get nothing at all. Lightforged don't even get the new tail length options that Draenei do. It's all very sad. And Nightborn would love to show you how sad they are, but they can't because they've still only got 6 face options, and all of them are holding onto a fart in a lift. But wait, because you may have noticed that I've left one allied race out of the total complete losers section. I wonder why that could be. Well, you'll have to wait because they are not the next lowest place on this list. That goes to... Yeah, Goblins are another race that might be entitled to feel a little bit underwhelmed with their updates, but again, only really relative to everyone else, because taken in isolation, there's still plenty to enjoy for Gobbo players here, including a couple of new skin tones and haircuts like this Spencer number if you want to look extra punchable, or mid-2000s Soccer Mom, or my personal favourite, Girl in the Band that you're in love with. There's loads of new hair colours to play with too, but where it really gets good for Gobbos is in the independent nose, ears, and jewellery options. Yes, I know, you may not believe this, but no longer will your nose shape be inherently and inescapably dependent on your ear shape, because it's 2020 and we are living in the future now, so you can choose each one separately. Likewise, the design and colour of ear and nose rings. It's just really cool. And that's not all, because in the most unique option that Gobbos receive, you also get fully customizable chin options as a kind of weird pointy cherry on top, or underneath, I guess. Pandas have the same sort of basic changes as Gnomes, who we'll see a bit later, but are an example of it not being done quite as well. They get 3 new haircuts and hair colours each, the best of which is definitely the Karate Kid bandana, and to be clear, this bandana is the one and only reason that pandas are finishing above goblins, okay? This right here. The usual eye changes, including totally blind, which, okay, is really cool and thematic, but the girls have no extra jewellery options or individual colour customizations. The boys get separate beard, moustache, and eyebrows, but it's nowhere near as fun as the gnome versions. The only thing that really makes you go, oh, neat, is the choice of a long tail or, and this is Blizzard's word, okay, leave me out of this, a nub for female characters. But I am going to have to put pandas on the loser pile for customizations overall, which is a real shame because that's basically where they are for everything, you know? I feel bad. Draenei are another one where the value of the changes aren't immediately apparent. 3 sexy new skin colours and 3 new hair colours is a bit underwhelming, but the girls get 7 new haircuts to choose from, including this ponytail, which I am big into. And the guys get 9, and don't forget that for a male Draenei, a new haircut also means a new head shape, because yeah, those things are connected. That's just how Draenei work, okay? I don't make the rules. There are individual tendril options, which really help you to realise after you've been playing around with them for a bit just how weird it is that Draenei have tendrils coming from their faces in the first place, and jewelry colours too. Female characters get some new horns, and guys get 3 new beards, which are the second most disappointing of all the new beards in Shadowlands, although I quite like Chin Curtain. I can't lie, I am partial to Chin Curtain. The crowning glory for Draenei though is their tail length options. Guys only get big or small because, you know, they're guys, but girls have a whole catalogue of mind-boggling tail options, and honestly, with that and the tendrils, I need a little lie down after this. But the fact remains that Draenei are definitely entitled to feel a little shortchanged compared to the options that some of the other races are getting. The tails nearly swung it for me, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm going to have to say that they are relative losers, tendrils. They may be the only race in the playable WoW world that are organised in anything like an equal democracy, but when it comes to Shadowlands options, there is some real gender inequality going on for these adorable little leg tykes, who prove that even if, on the face of it, you're not getting loads of new options overall, a little can go a long way, and it's what you do with it that counts. Something that we'll see with all the races that have what you could describe as human-type skin is that just having that more diverse range of skin tones that Shadowlands introduces is straight off the bat not just, you know, the right thing to do, but also just a whole lot more interesting and fun to play with for every race that benefits from them, and gnomes are no different. The girls get 6 uber cutesy new haircuts that seem designed to clip as much as possible on every armor type, but they are cool though. And a whole heap of new earring options, which of course are color customizable too. It's really good stuff, if nothing surprising or revolutionary, and the guys follow the same theme of doing the basics really well. But where they really win out on this tiny battle of the sexes is their facial hair options, where beard, moustache, and eyebrows are all separate options, giving them some truly wonderful potential looks. And that's without even mentioning the all-new beard option that we are calling the Tickler. I don't think we need to talk about the Tickler, do we? The Tickler speaks for itself. Winners for sure. Lore-wise, Void Elves may have been pulled out of Ian Hazzikostas' arse to fill a gap in the allied race stable, but I've got to admit that they've kind of grown on me in BFA, and man, are Blizz making up for it in Shadowlands, where Void Elves get the much-hyped High Elf options many players have been crying out for literally like an entire generation at this point. They get blue eye options, fam! They get all of the new skin tone options that Blood Elves get, but of course they still have their purpley options as well. And we've got a whole video about how this is awesome and important from an in-game world perspective, and Void Elves are definitely winners, especially compared to other allied races. We still want to see them get, if not Blood Elf hairstyles, then at least a couple of more High Elfy hair colour options, so that Alliance players can really live the dream. But this is still High Elf quality changes for Void Elves. Okay, fine, let's get this out of the way. Trolls have options that can make you look like a desert island, and that in itself means they win this entire video. But overall, I don't know, they've got loads of new stuff, and really cool stuff too. It's just that a lot of the same stuff is done better on other races. They've got new haircuts, including that one, which are all great. New hair colours with cool two-tone things going on for the females. They've got a total rainbow of new eye colours. They've got new skin colours, the most striking of which is this pale sand troll option, but cool dark troll looks too. They've got a massive amount of totally independent face paint options and colour choices, and separate body paint choices too. Like seriously, look how cool you can make these trolls look. And I cannot in good faith call them losers, even if I think that the same things are done better on other races. So no, sorry, the trolls are winners, and you're just gonna have to like it. Land ho! Okay fam, this is where it starts getting good. And I can say that even though really, Worgen don't have all that many new options compared to some of the more spoiled races on this list, what's there is immense. 10 new fur colours between the male and female options, including the beautiful, unbeatable Gen Greymane Awesome Sauce Very Good White Wolfy Boy. But then, hardly anything. A couple of new scraggly man beards and ear options, no longer connected to face choice, which is awesome. There's eye colour choices up the actual wazoo, 30 to choose from, whatever your gender, which is a stunning variety, and that's it, which might seem disappointing, but honestly, those new fur and eye options are so good and make such a difference that I still think of Worgen as being one of the big winners in these updates. And also, don't forget, a Worgen is not just their wolf form, are they? For the first time, you get to also completely independently design your human form, and of course, for that, you get to use all of the new human options too. So actually, over their two forms, Worgen have easily the most amount of new options to play with out of any race, and that means that all dogs will go to heaven in the Shadowlands. You know, when it comes down to it, I think that Forsaken are my favourite race in the entire game, and in Shadowlands, they just get better in some very satisfying ways. Their small selection of new skin tones are all incredibly effective, and they have 9 new hairstyles between them, and every single one is an absolute banger. Like, girl you never had a chance with in life and now she's dead and you still don't have a chance with her. Dead misfit, dead rockabilly, murderous janitor uncle that doesn't get invited to parties, and I know everyone gets bald options now, but does anyone rock that look quite as terrifyingly as a female Forsaken? It's a rhetorical question, the answer is no. This is just too perfect. You'll probably also have already noticed the new eye colours, which come in a selection of disco, but also empty sockets, and oh hell no, I'm officially christening this option, oh hell no. All of this awesome, and we haven't even got to the best bit. Would Sir like to be bony, mottled, or fresh as the driven snow? The choice is yours, and it suits you, sir. I know a lot of players won't be happy until there's a straight back option for Forsaken characters like there is for Orcs, and the existence of Kalia Menethil suggests that could happen in the future, but even so, Forsaken are total and absolute winners in Shadowlands, and it says a lot that they are still nowhere near the top of this list. I think the Dwarves have to go down as the flat-out most improved of any race going into Shadowlands. They've gone from kind of uninspired baby's first fantasy novel, exactly what you'd expect, okay, they're fine, they're just boring dwarves in BFA, to holy shit, dirty Mad Max, super badass, mother effing chadsters. And honestly, to get there, not all that much has changed. Yeah, some of the more interesting skin tones and eye colours definitely help. There's a few cool new hairstyles to go with 7 new hair colours, but nothing groundbreaking. And of course, the guys have separate beard and moustache options, which works beautifully. Still waiting for those options on the female characters, by the way, Blizzard, you cowards. But the thing that I think makes all the difference is the tattoo options, because loads of races get tattoo options in Shadowlands, but honestly, no one does it as well as the Dwarves. And combined with the awesome earring feathers, it's just really helped change the feel of the entire race in an awesomely good way, from comedy Scottish cartoon characters to post-apocalyptic wastelanders, and I love it so much. Out of all of the new options in Shadowlands, Dwarves are the race where I can just sit there constantly hitting the randomize appearance button over and over again to see what awesomeness comes up next. The Dwarves are winning so hard right now, and I think that counts as victory for the little guy, which is always satisfying. Okay, so yeah, dwarves do tattoos very well, and trolls do war paint very well, but you know what's better than tattoos or war paint? Just all of that shit all over your face! I mean, yeah, they get a couple of new skin tones and eye colours and some pleasingly braided hairstyles. Yeah, the guys get separate beard and sideburn options, which is sweet AF, but it's all about the fashion for orcs, and orc fashion knows very little restraint, it turns out. Scars, outrageous amounts of ear jewellery, grime for the boys, as well as tattoos and war paint for an absolutely insane over-the-top camo look. It's all very, very cool and helps give your orc a real individual flavour, if you so choose, becoming less Warhammer Orc and much more Lord of the Rings. It's dirty, it's dangerous looking, and over the course of the alpha and beta, I have come to really appreciate the orc changes in Shadowlands, and now I consider them among the big winners of the expansion, customization-wise. Hey look, Thrall got 10 times more baller and sexy looking last expansion. It's only right that the other orcs raise their game now, you know? Blood Elves fill the role of essentially being the human substitute of the Horde races, and their options aren't as good as the new human ones, but they are still up there with the best of the expansion. Everyone gets new, more diverse skin tones in Shadowlands, but Blood Elves are one of the races where you really notice it. And I know you may be thinking, does this fit the lore? Is this just diversity for diversity's sake? And if that's you, then don't worry, because I've done a lot of research on all this, and it turns out you're an idiot and you should definitely off with that bullshit, because A, it doesn't break any law and it wouldn't matter if it did, and B, look how cool they look, okay? There's something just a whole lot more fittingly sumptuous about the Blood Elves with all their new hair and jewelry options. And yeah, okay, so the guys still can't grow a proper beard like their Chad Void Elf cousins can, but at least they've learned how to grow like slightly better beards over like some of their face. They all get ear length sliders, which I don't know, it's just never not going to be funny to me, and I can't really explain it. It just makes me happy, okay? And I'm such a lore fiend that I still think the best thing about any of the Blood Elf changes is those eye color options, just because they're all great. And yes, with the blue eye color, we have finally closed the circle on a really important part of elf lore, and that feels pretty great to me. True, we still need the red eyes and translucent skin that we deserve to finally play as Dark Rangers, which would even totally make sense now after recent in-game events. But Blood Elves were already among the coolest and most popular races in the game, and they just got a whole lot cooler and more popular with these updates. You might be surprised to see Tauren this high on the list, and I'll be honest, so am I. But there's no denying how thoughtful and impactful and fun the new options are for cows in Shadowlands, and I think that should be celebrated. The new wealth of choices is great for everyone, and male Tauren are always perfect anyway. Now they're just even more perfect. No, the real beneficiaries in Shadowlands are the Tauren females. And everyone's favourite bovines don't have anything like the most new options to play with, but everything they do have is just brilliant. Headdresses, war paint in really striking colour combinations, earrings, fun new horn options, adjustable fringe, including the second best single change in the entire game over the eyes fringe, and of course the actual single best change in the entire game, the flower in the hair. The gender neutral flower in the hair. Honestly, if these necklace options included a bell, then basically there's no way I could possibly think of that would improve these improvements. And it turns out I actually rate Tauren as being the biggest winners of all the Horde races. Not sure I really meant to do that, but here we are. Oh man, I love the Night Elf updates so much that I am currently applying to the government for a change in the law so that I can marry them and have children with them somehow, because yes, just yes. Look, if you told me that Blizzard's big change for Night Elves was basically just to put leaves in their hair, then I'd have said, oh wow, that sounds great, but only because I'm very polite, because really I'd have been thinking, oh man, that sounds shit. But you know, it turns out I would have been wrong, because such a small thing really gives them a clear and obvious feral identity that has always been described as being part of the Night Elves, but which we've never seen properly realized in the in-game models. And I love it. It looks good enough on the female characters with their new shaggy hairstyles and choice of head, neck gear, and facial markings. Oh, and eyebrow customizations, which, yes, thank you, Blizz, eyebrow fun for girls, about time too. But not only do the guys get beautiful beard and sideburn choices, they can have leaves in their beard too. Which, look, I am a sucker for folky stuff, okay? And being able to go full green man on this is like a dream come true for me. And yes, in all cases, the vines come in different colors. Female characters get full control of their markings and colors. Males get cool tattoos that look suspiciously like they've just trimmed their body hair into cool shapes, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone gets ear length and thickness options. Finally, white or gold eyes aren't gender locked, just like being a priest or a druid hasn't been gender locked for years, and everyone gets new scars, including a burn called Teldrassil. Which, yeah, okay, is pretty on the nose, but it is also a great example of in-game events bleeding through into character customization in a way that I think is elegant and beautiful. Seriously, well done, Blizz. This is great. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to reveal the ultimate character customization champions. It's going to be humans. Alright, you may think this is a bit of a boring choice, and it definitely is the most obvious choice, but the fact is that no other race's new options even compare to the breadth and range and significance of the human editions, and that's probably as it should be. And yes, humans win in pure numbers: 16 new hairstyles, 24 new faces, and 3 choices of separate face shape, an exhaustive range of skin tones, outrageous choice of eye colours including yellow and purple, all the jewellery and beards and eyebrows you would expect, but that's only telling half the story. And look, I'm well aware that you might be the kind of person who finds this kind of diversity or inclusion a bit annoying for some vague reason that you can't quite eloquate, so instead you call it political or pandering or box ticking, but the reality is that it's none of that. It's just more. Being in the game and having so many different looking humans running around is just flat out more interesting and therefore enjoyable than it was before. And the fact that a huge amount of people finally get to make characters that look like them, something that I've always been able to do in WoW, well, that's clearly just another good thing about it. Plus, I get to make characters that look as flat out baller as this, or this, or this, and how can that possibly be anything other than marvellous? The human customizations win this ranking by an absolute mile, not just because they're clearly the best and most comprehensive anyway, but because they're the only ones that go beyond making me feel excited about some cool new customizations and just make me feel good. And I like feeling good. What do you guys think? What's your favourite new collection of customization options? How did your chosen playable race fare in the updates? What's missing that could make all of the difference? Let us know in the comments below. And thanks for joining us today. If you like this video, don't thank us, thank Mr. GM, who came onto our stream specifically to tell us we should make the video. Thanks, Mr. GM. And thank our patrons who give their actual real life money to make all of our work happen. And guys, from me, thank you, because without you, there would be a whole lot less Taliesin and Evitel. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. And remember, my name is Mr. GM. No, my name is Taliesin, from me and Evitel and Anirin too. And from the last vocal that I will ever record in this studio before we move. Until next time, cheerio.